Greetings all, my name is Yelena and I'm one of the TAs in the data analytics program. So today I'm going to help you get started with Watson Analytics program that you're going to be using in the course, in the rest of the course. And let's go ahead and get started. So most of you, and if not all of you, may have received the Watson Analytics invitation over the weekend. And I want you guys to check your email and also check your junk mail. And if you do not have the invitation, if you're unable to find the invitation, go ahead and let your instructor know, and they're gonna let me know. Or you can always email me, and I'm gonna provide you my email later. So one of the slides is going to show you instructions on how to accept the invitation. Now, let's go ahead. So what is Watson? It's an application that helps business to understand their data through data analysis and the presentation. It answers the human language questions, believe it or not, and I'm going to show you. You basically just type in your question and you get suggested answers through visualizations. So it's also user-friendly and intuitive. So over the night tonight, okay, count how many lines of code I will have written. Probably none, right? So let's keep going. Here is a brief history. Some of you might remember the Jeopardy game when a computer called Watson won the Jeopardy game, and he was playing with two contestants, Ken and Brad, right, who had been one of the top players. So if you want to learn more, you can check these links, and the slides are going to be provided after the presentation. Now, here you can read this is a website where you can read some customer success stories, right, and you'll find out some information on how this program is being used in the industry. Now, here, what you guys need to do is, and you have probably instructions in your classroom, you need to complete this course. It's an introductory Watson Analytics 101 course. To take this course, you need to go to the Big Data University, and you need to sign up for an account. It's completely free. And what you'll need to do is, when you complete the course, you need to download your certificate, and you need to upload it in a classroom. You need to upload your certificate. So you're gonna get your completion certificate. But the course has a test. At the end of the course, there is a test, and you have 1 hour. And there are some true and false questions where you get 1 attempt, and you get 2 attempts for each non-true and false question. All right. Now, this is an email. That's how it looks like. You're going to receive an email like this, right? So what I need you to do is, I need you to accept your invitation, and I also need you to log into your account. So this is how email looks like, and the email going to have this button, blue button called Accept Invitation. So what you need to do is you need to click on this button, and for some reason, if it's not working, at the bottom of the email, you're going to have a link that you can copy and paste in a browser. And then you're going to be redirected to the next screen. Basically, your IBM ID is going to be your email where you received the invitation. Password, you just make one up. And you also need to make up the security question. Just make something that you remember, perhaps your mother's maiden name or anything like that. Now, next one. Here is the URL that you use for the subsequent logins. So you need to accept your Watson Analytics invitation only once, right? And for each subsequent logins, you're going to use this URL and you're going to click sign in. All right, this is what you're going to do. So now and here is the page that you're going to be redirected to. You're going to put your IBM ID and the password that you created. Remember, IBM ID is the email where you got your invitation. All right, and very important, for this class, you need to use account you need to use the account for this class. You won't be able to use the free account that you may have created. You can only use an account for this class, and the reason is because you're going to be sharing files with your classmates, especially for the last assignment. Now, here is a community forum where you can post your questions, or you can find if your questions has been answered already. Now, here is the landing page. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen so that I can show you the actual application. So I'm going to go share my screen. Okay, so here is the landing page, right? I hope you guys can see it and hear me. Here is the landing page. Well, let's assume that I went through login page and I successfully logged in, right? Can we make this assumption? Yes. So here is the landing page. It has 3 tiles: data, discover, and display. Let me switch over to data. Data is a tab that's going to be selected by default. When you log in for the first time, I believe you're going to have one data set, one sample, this one. You're going to have it. It's just given you as a freebie. Now, you're not going to see other users. I see it as an admin, but you're going to see personal. This is a folder where your data is going to be saved, right? Anything that you save, anything that you create is going to be in your personal area, right? That's a default. Shared. This is where you share files with your classmates, so to speak. So what I did was, I created a shared folder for each session of the class, and you want to make sure that you see a folder for your session, right? So if you are enrolled in data 10 session 40, make sure that you see this folder for your session, right? If you don't see it, please let me know, because I've been setting up the privileges, and you need to make sure that you see this folder. Now, when the time comes from the group work, I'm going to select a separate subfolder for each group. You're going to get more instructions later on. All right? Let me minimize this. So now, a few more things about this personal area. You have 2 options. You have the layout, you have tiles, right, like I have it right now, or you can have a list. There is a difference. You can toggle between 2 layouts, right? And I'm gonna explain to you what this information means. Okay, so how do we get started? In general, to get started, after we logged in, we need to upload data, right? You have several options here. In general, we can upload the sample data set, right? We can import a sample data set that already comes with an application. We can upload the file from our desktop, right? Or we are not going to do it in this class, but in general we can pull the data from remote database and from other cloud. We can do it, but we're not going to do it in this class. So now, how do we upload data? Do you see this button right here? New data, right? So here it is, sample data. That's a good start. That's what you want to do. You want to explore, click on sample data, and there are 10 sample data sets, all right? See this? So if you're interested in one of them, you would just select, and you're gonna hit import, right? I'm not gonna do that, but, well, actually I can do it because I'm on a fast internet connection right now. So let's do this. I'm going to select this, right? And I'm gonna hit import. Import. I'm going to show you what happens. Now, see this? It's processing, right? I'm going to see this little thing spinning. It means that it's processing my import right now. When it's done, I'm going to see the dataset name, right? And I'm going to see the date when the dataset was imported. I'm going to see this means that the initial source was a CSV. And what this is, data quality score. For the data quality score, it's going to look through the data quality for each individual column. And what drives data quality is that the missing values, right? If the data has missing values, and if it has a skewness and a lot of other factors, right, drives the data quality. We're gonna discuss it. So now, what you can do is you can refine data. Refinement means making changes, right? So what you can do, look at this. These triple dots right here. If I click here, it's gonna open up the menu. And my options are, here are my options. Refine, replace, move, rename, and delete. Now, I need you guys to be careful, very careful. Unfortunately, there is no recycle bin. If you delete something, it's gonna be gone. That's it. There is no way to recover, unless I go back and re-import the file again. But keep in mind, if you delete something, it's gone, right? So you can rename it. If I do rename, I can just change my name, right? I'm not gonna do that, but I could do that. Now, move. This is very important functionality. Later on, to share the file with your teammate, you would need to move it to the shared folder. That's what it is, right? It's one thing that you can do. You can also get organized. You can create a subfolder, right? You can click new folder and you can create a subfolder. For instance, I want to call it assignment 1, and I'm gonna hit create. What will this do? It's gonna add this folder right here to my subfolder. And suppose that I want to work on my assignment 1. I want to use this one right here, and I want to keep everything in the same location. So I can do this. I can do move, and then I'm gonna select assignment 1, and I'm gonna hit move, right? So it's gone, but I'll have to select assignment 1, and here it is, right? Now, let's take a look at this. What else we can do? We can do refine, right? Refine. Let's look at this. Refine basically is going to open my data set, and it looks like a spreadsheet, but it's not. Now, something very important. Very important. You will be importing your own data, right? You want to make sure that the column names are descriptive. The column names need to have a meaning, right? And I'm going to explain it to you why. So see this? I'm going to scroll down to see all the columns now. Now, clicking on the column heading opens up the column properties. See this? It opens up the column properties. So what I could do is I could specify the filter. For example, phone service. Right now, I did not select any values, so it's gonna show me yes and no, right? What if I want to select only, I want to select the data only where phone service is yes. So this is what I do. I just click on this yes, right? I have to click and select it. Oops. Usually when I click on it, there we go, it selected it. And then I unclick it to unselect, right? So I just selected no. So it's telling me that I selected the phone service no, right? Now what I could also do is I could click here and I can define calculations. Well, it's probably not a good field to define the calculation on. I would have to pick something numeric, something like that. But I'm just showing you that I can see my properties here, where I can usually change my data type. Well, in this case, it's only text, right? In this case, it's only text. I can also rename my variables here just by clicking on change name, and then I would have to type my new name. All right. And right now there is no sorting. I can always change it. I can sort my data ascending or descending, right? So That's one thing, right? I can go ahead and change it. Let me close this out. Now, notice this little dot. When you see this little dot, it means that you've made changes and did not save it. You've made some changes and did not save it. Now, how are we gonna save it? Here, see this file? You have an option, save and save as. Save as will save as a copy. It's always a good idea to keep your original copy of the file that you imported and save a copy. Save as. Now, where I want to save it? In the personal folder, and I want to save it in assignment 1. And here, I'm gonna just add something, edit it, or I'm gonna just say it refinement. Make sure that your names, the file names are descriptive, because tomorrow you want to know what you did yesterday, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and click save. That creates another copy of the file. But the plus side of it is that what if my company has several business units and I don't want certain business units to see certain fields, right? For example, suppose that I don't want to see the customer ID for one of the divisions, right? Or I don't want to see the total charges. So what I could do is I could hide the column, right? I could go to properties, hide it, and save this as a different copy. I can save this refinement as a different copy and then configure who can see it, right? Because each copy of the file can have different security rights defined. So now let me click here, column properties, right? Before I open the properties of an individual column, I can also see some properties of all columns like this. Now, what this means is that whenever I want to do some visualization for the total charges, it's going to do the sum. It will make more sense when we start doing discovery. Here, by default, it's going to be doing sum. If I change this, it's going to affect everything, all visualization and all discoveries where I'll use this column. If I change it right here. Or I can change it, I'll show you the visualization level. Right? So you can also define your sorting over here. Right? And you can sort by more than one column. So now to close this, you're going to click here. You're going to click here. Now, here, this will show you the data quality score for each column, right? And it's going to show you the missing values. When the value is missing, basically it's blank. Like, for example, suppose that I don't have any information on monthly charges for specific record. It's going to show blank. In this case, there are no missing values, right? So we are lucky, so to speak. Now here, this one, what is this? It's a customer ID. For some of your analysis, you may want to exclude it, right? Because, for instance, if I want to predict the total charges, my customer ID does not really affect the total charges. It's not really a good predictor, right? Is it? Well, I don't think so. It just uniquely identifies the customer, right? Okay, so now let me show you this part right here. Let's click. Here, it specifies that I can show or hide certain columns, right? So to hide the column, I'm just gonna uncheck it, all right? So now, basically, suppose that I don't want to see the contract. I can just uncheck, and it will hide the column, okay? Now, what I could also do is, see this? It almost immediately updated this display here. It almost immediately updated this. Now, what I could also do is, well, you can search for the column, because the list is too long. So let me do this ID. It's supposed to give me customer ID, and I want to hide this, right? Because it's a unique identifier. So now I'm going to clear out the search, you want to click on this X over here. It will undo the search. And you're going to see the remaining fields like this, okay? Now, what you can do is let's define the calculation. Defining the calculation will create a new column, right? So I'm going to hit calculation. And let's call it new monthly charges. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select another column here, monthly charges. I'm going to use monthly charges. See this? I select a column. Now here I have option. I can just use a plus as is, or I can use a function, but let's leave it like this, plus. Now here, what I can do is, let's select a number, and I'm gonna enter 1,000, right? All monthly charges are going up by 1,000. Let's just make this assumption. And when I'm done, I'm gonna hit done. Let me show you what's happening. Now, to close this, you have to click here to close this menu. Oops. Okay. So now what you need to do is you would need to scroll down. And that column was added all the way to the end. Oh, here it is, new monthly charges. It's right here. To scroll, you use this, see this arrow? This is how you use to scroll. Now, have you noticed the color codes here? Green color code means high quality, right? So here, this is a calculated column. That's why you don't see the quality score. Now, notice that there is another way to sort. You can click on these arrows. Yep, that's another way to do the sorting. And I see number 2, and I think it's because I already selected my first column to sort on. I already selected the first sorting column. Right? Yep, see this? This is my first sorting column, and the other one is the second one. Now, what you could also do is you could define the groups. Like, for example, I have my another. Here it is. See this? I have this continuous values, right? And suppose that I want to look at value ranges. So in some textbooks they call it binning. In some readings you may find that they call it discretization. Here they call it groups. So what I'll have to do is I could just click here and I can do properties, and then I can do the data groups. That's one way to do it. Alright? Data group. And what this is going to do is it's going to create another column. It's going to create another column. So let's call it right? And what this will do is it's going to split my values into 5 ranges, right? By default is 5, I can change it. And here, by default, equal width. Each interval is equal width. This is the default. So I'm going to click done. I could accomplish the same task. I could accomplish the same task just by clicking on the properties and selecting. I could also do it right here, just by clicking on the properties and selecting here the data group and then selecting a column. So there is more than one way to do this, right? There is more than one way to do the same task. What I could also do is, see this, I can select my column, and I can also do the groupings for the categorical columns as well, right? Not only the numeric columns. All right, let me close this, and close this. So basically, you would need to look at the distributions. For instance, sometimes you may have a categorical variable where you have perhaps 5 values, but 2 of the 5 values may not occur that often, and you may want to group them. You have an option to group certain values. This specific data set does not have a very good example, but I can just make up a hypothetical example. Like, see this? Let's pick something where it has multiple values. Same method. What I could do is I could click here, and I could group 2 methods together. So what I could do, I could click, and I could do the data group, and let's name it payment method group, right? And what I'm gonna do is, see this? I can create a new group, right? I click a new group, and now I enter the group name, and let's see this automatic, and I'm gonna click OK. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to drag this. It won't work, but usually I thought I could drag and drop. Or I can just click on edit, and I can add my items to it. Alright? Oh well, edit is gonna do. So basically what you need to do is, there we go. See this? So this is how you add, and you just click and it's gonna be added. So I created one group with 2 items, and what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna do next group, and I'm gonna call it not automatic. Right? I'm gonna click OK, and then I'm gonna do this and this. Oops. Here we go. So we can do groups for categorical data and for numeric data. I'm gonna click done. Alright? Now, very important, we want to save this. Save. Here we go. Save. These 2 buttons are your friends. Why? Because if I made a mistake, I want to undo. Here it is, right? If I thought I made a mistake and I hit undo, then I want to redo. Here it is, right? Question mark. This is a help. It opens up the documentation. It opens up this documentation, and you can read on different topics, like on the data, on the different data that you can upload, and so on. See this? So you can browse on how to refine data sets and perhaps how to create groups, and you've got some videos in there also that you may find really useful. So now, suppose that I'm done with the refinement. I'll have to go back to the landing page. So to go back to the landing page, I select this, right? But wait a minute, I did not close my file, right? So to close the file, I can just do it here. This is the file I had open. I can do it here. But you want to make sure that you saved it. So notice that here is the refinement that I just created. Here is the refinement that I just created. Alright? Something very important that I wanted to point out to you guys. Before I logged in, right, on my last session, before I logged in, I was working with a discovery file, and I did not close it. When I logged in the last time, I worked on something, and I did not close the file. I did it on purpose, just for demonstration. Look at it. This is still open, right? So this is something to keep in mind when you work in groups, because 2 people cannot have the same file open at the same time. Even if I'm not logged in at the moment, if I left the file open, that file is going to remain open, right? So this is something to keep in mind, very important, and I'm going to need to repeat it later on. If you're working with your team member and you're sharing a file, if you still have it open, it does not matter if you're logged in the system right now. You may not be, but you still have it open, right? When I log in the next time, I'm going to see it open. Now let me close out. Now I showed you how to load the data from the sample data, right? But to load it from the file, I'm going to quickly show you what you need to do. Import, you're going to go to local file, you're going to do browse, and you find the file stored in your, on your desktop, right? This one, for instance, right? I'm not going to upload it now, but I'm going to hit cancel. But when you select the file and click import, the same process. Okay, the same process that we followed. We're not gonna do it in this class. We're not gonna use the database, right? Let's save it for the upper level courses. So for this class, just sample data and local files. Now let me close this out. Now we're gonna get into the discovery. What do I mean by discovery? So let me go back here. I'm going to type a question, and what Watson Analytics is going to do is it will try to answer my question based on the data that I have. For example, I'm going to type price and hit enter. It's going to give me the suggested visualization for my price. Here, it shows me the data set that it's using to answer my question, right? Here, this is a product sales data. This is the most relevant, right? The color code, the darker the color code, the more relevant is visualization to your question. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick this one, product sales data. I'm going to pick this. What it's going to do for me, first of all, it's going to open the new discovery, right? It's going to open the new discovery. The spiral model, it means it's going to show me which factors drive the target. Target is a price. Only one variable can be target. The other variables are predictors. It's going to show me which combinations of variables drives the price. Now, here I see the bullseye here, and the pins. Each pin represents a combination of predictors, the combination of variables. It's going to take some time to come up, but see this here is a spiral. If I hover, it's going to show me my variables, profit and discount, a predictor of the price. Now remember it, why is it very important to make sure that my variables are meaningful? Because what is this profit, discount, price? What is this price? This, secretly, this is a column name in your Excel spreadsheet that you import, right? So this is a column name. If I name my columns XYZ, it's not really intuitive. My application is not going to know what I really mean. I won't be able to ask questions effectively. Now, notice that the target variable, it's here, it's also here, and it's also over here. See this? It's in here, in the core. Now, here, the closer the pin to the core, the stronger is the prediction. What I could also do is I could click here, drivers list, and it's going to show me the combination. It's supposed to show the combination of predictors along with predictive strengths. It's taking some time to load, right? So spiral and drivers list. Here it's just going to list out the combinations. Okay, so I'll have to. All right. Now, very important, this is a discoveries workbook, right? This is a workbook. What you want to do is, each workbook has multiple tabs. You want to make sure that each tab has a meaningful name, right? To name the tab, you put your mouse over, like this, and you want to rename it. Let's just say price drivers. Drivers. Now, something else. Now, notice that based on my prediction, based on what I'm doing over here in the middle, Watson Analytics is going to give me a set of suggested discoveries. For instance, I can look at my decision tree, right? I can look at my decision tree. So what I could do is, to do this, I'm just gonna click on this. When I click on it, I'm gonna get another tab, Edit, right? So here you have two options. You have decision rules, and you can browse through the rules. And you have you have an option to see the tree. So we need to all of this to load, right? And you scroll down here, and it's gonna show you, it's supposed to show you the rules. I need to figure out how to minimize this here. But anyway, if you scroll down, you're gonna see these rules here. And you could also switch to the decision tree view, right? The decision tree view is just gonna show you the picture of the tree. Okay, now you may find it looks a little bit too cluttered, or you may decide to filter data. Notice, what is this? Here is the data tray. Here is the data tray. What you could do is you could use this to filter data. Oh, I see what I could do. I could minimize the zoom. That's one thing. Right. So now what I could do is I could filter the data, but if I filter the data over here, it will apply only to this specific workbook. It will not apply to the data set that was used to build this workbook. It's going to apply only here. So let's do this. Let's say product categories. I would need to click here, and what I can do is I can either enter my condition, or I can uncheck what I don't want or what I want. Suppose that I want the closing, and so basically sometimes with the cloud we need to be a little bit patient, right? So what I'm doing is I'm checking what I want. I checked food. Okay, so here's what I did, and here it's going to show me how many options I have selected. I selected 3. So I'm done, right? I click out. So what it did was, now it's thinking, it's trying to rebuild my decision tree based on the filter, based on what I have filtered, right? Well, it's taking some time to build the rules, but let's focus on the concepts here. What I could also do here, I could rename this tab. Oh, here it is. Here it is. So basically, it's showing me if units sold are between 8 and 12. Oops. I need to go back to rules. Basically, the decision tree is showing me if the sales between less than 10 and if the category is crafts, then on average, this is a predicted value. On average, this is a predicted value, right? And this is average, right? So this is the average price. That's what it does. It shows me that 118 records, which is 2% of the data, fall under this category. So here is a condition, right? It's showing me if units sold falls between 8 and 12, square brackets meaning inclusive, and if sales is less than or equal to 118, and if product category is craft, then an average price is 6.51. Where does the average come from? Why it's average? Well, because if you look at this here, price, this is what I meant earlier by aggregation. If I look at my price, if I go in here, and if I go to properties, and see this aggregation average. So sometimes in your analysis, if you want to see the minimum, you can change it to the minimum here. See this? I have an option, I can change it. By default, for this variable is average, but I can change it. If I change it here, it will apply only to this workbook. If I change it in my data set that I was showing you earlier, then it will apply to every single prediction that I develop from this workbook. So let me close this out. I don't want to change it. Okay. So this is basically how you read the rules, and make sure you understand how to read the rules, right? And I'm giving you one example, and here are the remaining rules. So it shows you the predicted value, the average, and here this allows you to sort ascending or descending. You can sort it by the average price, right? And you can visualize the decision tree. Yes. So now, yeah, you would need to do some more filtering because you want to make sure that product ID is not used in analysis. I think what you would need to do is you would need to exclude the product ID, okay? You would need to exclude this field, right? And the reason is because you don't want the product ID to be used for prediction of the price. And I thought I may have excluded it, but apparently I did not. Well, so that's the reason I don't see the tree really well, because I should have excluded this product ID. I won't be able to do it from here. I won't be able to do it from here because here I can only eliminate the specific values, but this is something, as you're working on your assignment, this is something to keep in mind. You want to exclude the unique identifiers from analysis, okay? Otherwise, you're going to deal with this model. I did not make this mistake on purpose, but just something to keep in mind. Now, here is something to point out. You can change your target variable if you like. To do this, you would just click here, and it will open the drop-down where you can select another variable, but of course it's going to show from the same data set that was used here in this workbook, right? You can use only one data set in the same workbook, and I can do sales. And this is going to update. If I select it, it's going to update, right? Okay, here we go. Notice that it's updated here, and it's updated in here, right? And it's going to take some time to load. Now, what I wanted to show you is that you can also do the aggregation. So another way to add new visualization is just to click on a plus sign, and it's going to add a new tab. It's taking some time to load. Okay, now let's do it. So now, when I click on a plus sign, I want to add a new tab. And now I'm getting an option. I'm getting an option here. It's a set of suggested starting points, and apparently it's using the same data set that I just used. Suppose that I'm not sure how to ask questions. You can click here, and it's going to give you some suggestions, right? Variety pack, there are different question types, right? Or I can also select compare data, and it's going to give me some questions in this category. And what I could do is I can change it. I don't like the rows, and I can go country. I can change units sold by country, and I can click on ask. That will add a new tab in here. Oh, okay, it did not add a new tab because it gave me the set of suggested visualizations. I see what happened. I got the set of suggested visualizations. Let me select this one, the bar chart. There we go. So right now I'm going to get a bar chart per country, right? This is a bar chart. And this is a unit sold, and this is a region. Now, I'm going to show you something very interesting. This is called multiplier. Suppose that I want to see the units sold per region, but I want to see this by product category. I want to see this by product category. To do this, I'm going to take this and I'm going to drag and drop multiplier. Let's see what happens. Now I'm gonna get the number of charts that I'm gonna get is the number of product categories. Right? I'm gonna get a separate chart. I have to scroll down, but this is gonna give me, it's still loading. Okay, it's still loading. I'm gonna hit wait. Yeah, so you need to allow some time to load, right? So basically what it's gonna do is it's gonna create a separate chart per product category. This is what Multiplier does. Multiplier creates a separate chart for whatever variable I select. Here we go. Jesus, pets, toys, I have a separate chart. What I can also do is I can filter it, right? Actually, earlier I think I lied, because the filters that I select here, they actually apply to a single sheet of a workbook. They apply to a single page of a workbook, not to the whole workbook apparently. Because remember, I already filtered the categories, right? So what I'm doing is I'm gonna uncheck what I don't want, right? And I can always filter it here. So just something to keep in mind. How many multipliers can I add? As many as I want, right? As many as I want. I can have a lot. I'm unaware of a limit. If you discover the limit, let me know. Now, I can always change my variables. I can always define more filters, right? Let me hit done. Well, it's taking time to load. So what you do is you just be patient and you wait for it to finish. While it's loading, I want to point out a few things that here you have format. Basically, format allows you to change how the title appears. You can make it central, or you can make it left justified or right justified. You can change the colors. You can here we go, and you can also do a different visualization. There are a bunch of stuff you can do. Here it is, format. So this controls basically the text, not indentation, but if it's centered or if it's left justified, justification. And you can select what you want to show. You can hide headings if you don't want to see them, and so on, right? Now, I want to point out, guys, something very important for Windows 10. You want to make sure that you adjust your PC settings, because Windows 10 has a lot of processes running in the background. So you may want to perhaps uncheck the automatic check for updates for applications that you might not be using. You want to, if you minimize the visual effects, it's going to save your CPU, right? Because sometimes the cloud performance really depends on other processes that you might be running in your PC. And it's not necessarily an application that you are running. It could also be the background processes. Oops. Okay, so now let's do this. Let's save this. And to save it, I'm gonna have to click here and select save. Right? So this is basically the PC speed, the internet speed, and a lot of things going on. The number of users in the system. There are a lot of factors to consider, right? So to save, I would click here and select save. All right. Let's close this. What would you like to do? I would like to wait. Anyway, so while it's loading, I wanted to show you there is a, oops, it's taking its time. But anyway, so it's taking its time to load, but I wanted to point out while it's, okay, let's stop this and try again. I wanted to point out that in your classroom, you have links to useful Watson Analytics case studies. I would strongly recommend to, oh, here we go, it's back up. I would strongly recommend for you guys to watch as many as you can, right? Watch as many as you can. So now to exit out from this workbook, I would need to save it. To do that, I would need to click on this, and I would need to select save it the same way as we did earlier. The same way as we did earlier today, right? So now what we need to do, let's exit. Oops. I'm trying to exit this. So there is a possibility that something else might be running on my PC. Hopefully not, but another option you can try is that you can try a different browser. When you get this type of performance, what you could do is you can try different browser. That's what I'll do now. And I'm gonna try the different browser. And see, this is a page that you're gonna be accessing. You're gonna do login, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna put your name, right? You're gonna put your login name, and you're gonna put your password that you created. Okay, I'm gonna do sign in, and here it is. Continue. Now, few things to keep in mind that I had something open. What happened? See this? I still have it open, right? I started a new session, I still have it open because I never closed it, right? So let's go back to this, and let me see if I can save it. Yep, I can save it right now. Yeah, so let me go ahead and save it. Save as, and I'm gonna just say something like this, price discovery. All right, and let's assume that this is my assignment 1, and I'm gonna do save. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'm going to go back to. I'm going to close this first, and now I'm going to go back to the landing page. Okay, and what it did was when I close it, it's opening up another file that I had open. That's not what I want. I'm gonna go to the landing page, and now where is it? First of all, to return, I have to close the search. You click on X to close the search. Where is it? You're not gonna see it here. In order to see your discoveries, you have to click on the style, Discovery. And here, it's gonna show you all discoveries that you have saved, that you have created, right? It's gonna show you everything that you have created. And I've done quite a lot. What we're gonna do now is, we're gonna create a display. Display enables us to present the findings. So one way to do this is to go here, click on display, and I'm gonna hit new display, and I'm gonna call it assignment 1 presentation, and I'm gonna do the dashboard, okay? Dashboard, and I'm gonna hit create. Now here it is. And what I'm gonna need to do is I can select the layout, and just to keep it simple, I'm just gonna do this. 4 panels. What am I going to do right now is I need to add my visualizations that I have already created, right? I can add from existing discoveries. Or I can add a new discovery, but to add an existing one, to do this, I hit personal. And when I do this, that opens up a set of discoveries. Do you remember that what we saw on the Discover tab, right? On the Discover? This is what it shows here. Now, notice that there is an error over here. What it is, if you expand it, you're going to see the list of tabs, right? Each discovery that I created has multiple tabs. So what I could do is, I could click on a tab, like for instance, I want to do something with Boston housing, for instance, right? Here is not the average property tax. What I can do is I can select this and I can drag and drop. Now, very important, if this blue square lights up, right, you want your discovery to fit this rectangle. You want the discovery to fit this rectangle, right? What I'll do right now is I'm going to add another discovery, property tags drivers, right? And I'm going to add another one, right? Oh, I already have this, so let's do this like this, right? So I have 3. Now, notice that here my discoveries can have more than one tab. My discoveries can have more than one tab. And I can use different data. I can use different workbook rather for each tab. Here I can define my filters. Here, pay attention. When I have multiple tabs, I can define the filter that will affect all tabs, all visualization on all tabs. I can define the filter that will affect all visualization on this current tab. Or I can filter only specific visualization. To filter a specific visualization, I would need to click on this arrow. See this? I select it and I click on an arrow. That will open up the visualization. And notice that this is somewhat similar to what I saw in the Discovery workbook. I can click here and I can define my filters, right? So this is a slider. I can do this, right? And when I'm done, I'm just gonna close out, right? So it applied here. Or what I could also do is I can define the filter for this tab. And to do this, I have several options. I could just click here and I could select my field and drag and drop, right? That's one option. Lower status, drag and drop. I can do this. And then I click on the triple dots and I can just enter filter values. And since this is a continuous variable, I see the slider, right? I can adjust my values here. Now, see this? No, it's because maybe I overdid it. So let's edit. Let's try this. There we go. It's because I filtered out the values that applied to this calculation. That's why. Okay, so that's one way. Another way, this is all tabs. This is going to filter, if I had multiple tabs, it will filter all tabs. And another way to do that is to click on those triple dots. Oh, actually, when you click on those triple dots, you have an option to clear all filters or to delete all filters. Alright? So that's what it is. To do this, you actually have to use this here, filters. Right? You have to use this panel. You could also add some text and widgets. It means the video. You can add shapes, you can add links, and you can add a lot of interesting things here. Something important to keep in mind is that the workbook, the dashboard rather, has 2 modes. It has an edit mode and it has a view mode, right? So when you see the glasses here, it means that currently it's in the edit mode. When you see a pencil, it's currently in the view mode. So when you open up your display, if you are unable to edit it, I'm unable to change it, it's highly possible that it might be in not in the edit mode, right? It might not be in the edit mode. So what I need to do, I need to click on a pencil. Another important functionality here is this thing here. I can share my visualizations. I can email them. I can download them, right? This is what I can do. And you can download them in a PowerPoint format, PDF, and image, right? I'm going to close this. I'm not going to do it right now, of course. Now, notice that in every page there is a link to the help page. And more options, you can basically save it. Right? I want to save this. Always save it. And hit save. You want to make sure that you save it, and now I'm gonna exit this, right? Exit this, and I'm gonna go back to the landing page. See this? It's edited here. My presentation is here, but I want it to be moved to my assignment folder. I'm gonna move it like this, right? That's it. It's a nice way to organize the work, right? And a folder can have multiple subfolders. Now, if I want to rename the folder, I would need to click on these triple dots, and I have options to rename, delete, or move. Perhaps you want to move it to another subfolder. Very important, if I do delete, I'm going to lose. If I do delete, I'm going to lose everything. There is no recycle bin, all right? Something that I pointed out earlier, but if you joined it, in case you may have joined it a little bit later, I'm going to repeat. Make sure that under shared folder that you see a folder for your session. Make sure that you see a folder for your session. Like for instance, if you're from session, if you're taking session 9041, make sure that you see this folder, because when the time comes for the group work, I'm going to add the subfolders here. I'm going to add the subfolders, and I'm going to assign the roles. So every one of you will have access to the subfolder for your team, and all of you will have read and write access to the folder for your session. So maybe perhaps your TA or your instructor decides to share some files with you. So they're going to create a shared folder in here, and they're going to upload the files. So everything that's inside over here is shared among your session. I can see it because I'm an admin, right? But your instructor and your TA, if they want to share files, right? So this is session 9041. So this is your folder. And in here, I'm going to create a bunch of subfolders. Now, unfortunately, I'm unable to prevent people writing files over here straight in the shared area. So we're going to make an agreement here. We're going to make a rule. Everything that's saved in the incorrect place is going to be deleted. Yes, I mean, everything that's saved in the incorrect location will be deleted, because we need to keep this organized. This account is shared among multiple sessions. We have 6 sessions of data 610, right? And we're going to have a session of data 650. Since we need to share all of this area, I organized it. I created a separate folder for each session in a shared area, right? So you're going to know, make sure that you see the folder for your session. If you don't, let me know. I will take care of it. I will take care of the permissions, all right? So now I'm going to stop sharing for a while, and I'm going to see if we have questions. Let me see. Are there any questions in the chat? Are there any questions in the chat? Just confirming. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Professor Moreta. Thank you for attending. I really appreciate it. Yes, and on the last few slides, you're gonna see here. I'm just showing how to import the sample data set, right? And here are some useful resources on uploading the data from the local files, and some information you may find in the help system, but I just summarized here. Yeah, and something very important. On Friday evenings, the system usually is taken down for 4 hours. It usually happens at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And the reason is they're doing maintenance, and because each time they're trying to enhance the system and they try to add more functionality. Like, let me give you an example. Example is notifications that I've been sending for you to validate your account. Recently, that's a recent change. They added an option to resend the notification. Before, if you missed your identification, that was it. There was no option to resend it. I would have to delete your account, yes, and recreate it again. Right now, they added an option to resend the notification if the notification is lost. But to do that, they had to take the system down. The users are not supposed to be in the system to make any system enhancement, right? So what we will need to do is I'm gonna provide instructors a link to the maintenance schedule, and you want to plan your study times accordingly. Usually the maintenance window is it starts at 8 p.m. on Fridays, right? It's usually for 4 hours. Sometimes, if something does not go as fast as planned, they take it down on Saturday morning, but we need to see the schedule. Right, so here I'm just showing you that you can ask questions on a data page, or also you can ask questions on a discovery page. There is more than one way to do it. And here I'm just giving you overview of decision trees and predictions. And actually there are a couple videos, and I provided the links, where the presenter shows you how to interpret. See here, this is a nice visualization. The mistake that I made this evening was I did not remove the unique identifier. But I guess that's a good mistake to learn from, right? So here it is. So what I would recommend you guys to do is I would recommend you to watch the videos on how to ask natural language questions. And I want you to watch this video about the decision rules. Right. So here, this is basically about sharing the discovery, and I showed you. You can share discoveries and you can share the dashboard. And this is talking about different types of displays, right? And different layouts, right? And here it's showing you how to add, right? I'm just summarizing it. And here, it's just showing you that you can drag and drop to canvas. And this is a toolbar. It's just showing you what different buttons do. Now, just showing you different filters and how to edit the values. And here, it's just showing you the different formatting that you can choose. You can change colors, you can change shapes, right? So here you got the layout options, you have the sorting options. And now here are very useful resources. And try to watch as many as you can. Right? Try to watch as many as you can. You're going to like it. It's very helpful for your assignments. And you're going to get a lot of ideas from the videos. Now, creating folders. This is also important because you're going to have multiple assignments. You want to get organized, right? And here it's showing you how to move files to the folder. Right? I'm not introducing the folder permissions yet because we are not sharing files with your classmates until the last assignment. So sharing files will be revisited, but here I just put some important key points to keep in mind that Watson allows collaboration, but two or more people cannot work on the same file at the same time. Before you log out, you want to close it. I just showed you what happened, right? I logged out, but I still had the file open. You want to close it, right? So if I leave it open, and if I'm in the same, suppose that I'm in the same group with Jackie, right? I'm just picking randomly one of the participants. And Jackie, she cannot edit the file if I have it open. No matter what, I can be logged out. It does not matter, but if I have it open, she cannot edit the file, right? If I'm opening the file from the shared folder. Now, here are some use cases, and I want you guys to, well, I would recommend you to watch as many as you have time for, right? Here are more. And you can have a copy of this slide. And here are additional videos that you're going to like, all right? And there is a whole YouTube channel for the Watson Analytics. So that's something you may want to keep an eye on, right? They keep on adding new videos, new functionalities. So now let's see what other questions we have. And you know, I like questions, right? Well, if you don't have questions, I'll ask questions. Remember 3 important tiles, right? Do you remember 3 important tiles? Data, discovery, and display, right? Well, yes, you can use external data set, and I can share my screen. I can show you again how to do this. Share my screen. So to do this, you would need to do this here. I'm gonna hit data, and I'm gonna hit shared. Oops, not shared, I'm sorry. I'm gonna hit new data, and I'm gonna hit local file, and I'm gonna hit browse, and then I'm going to find my file. Like I have a separate folder here. I call it datasets, and what I can do is I can just pick a dataset, and I can just import. I can hit open, right? And I can hit import, and what it will do is it will load the data, something similar to what I showed you before. Oops, I did not want to do this. I did not want to load it into shared. So this is a big no-no. If I see somebody do this, that's it. It's going to be deleted, okay? Everything should be either in a personal folder or in a folder for your study group later on. This is big no-no. So I just committed a crime here. But I was just trying to show you that it is possible to upload your own data. Okay, this is how you do it. So now, let me do this. I made this mistake, but I know that I have a mean Yelena, admin, who is monitoring this page all the time. This is what I can do. Watch. Move. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to move it to personal. I'm going to unshare it. And I'm going to hit move. Now it's going to give me this warning. That's okay. I don't want everybody else to see it. That's it. It fixed it. But if I see something in here that I should not see, it's going to be deleted, right? Because, and anybody can delete it, in fact. Anything over here, not inside the subfolder, is visible to everybody. We don't want this, right? Well, I made a mistake, but I quickly fixed it. I want everything to be in a personal area. Okay? So now let me see. I'm going to stop sharing. Let me see if I answer the how soon. Well, you're going to know it when the time comes to the group assignment. I believe it's an assignment at the end. I think it's an assignment that you're going to do towards the end of the course. Yeah. I realize that some of you like to work in groups, and working in teams is a very important skill for the industry. Absolutely. So definitely you're going to have the groups assigned, but it's going to happen somewhere closer when you start working in groups. Yeah, okay, thank you. The team assignment is the last assignment. Yes. So let's see. Is there anything that anybody wants to comment on? Anything that you want to add? How helpful was the presentation? Anything that you want to see? Anything else that you think would have helped? Trying to see if anything that you would like to. Now it's a good time to ask for questions. Oh, thank you. I'm glad it helped. Sure. What we're gonna do is I'm recording this presentation, so definitely we're gonna email you guys the link to the recording. It will be posted in a classroom, and also slides. All right. And do you guys have my contact information? I'm trying to put it in the slides, but it won't. I'm trying to put it in the chat. I'm unable to enter it in the chat for some reason. But anyway, so I believe you have my information, right? I believe you have my contact information. So, oh, thank you for letting me know that you have my contact information. All right, so if you don't have any questions, then I'm going to go ahead and end the presentation, and I'm going to end the recording, and I want to thank everybody for attending. Thank you so much. Have a nice evening.